So to really wrap our heads around this, let's start with a simple question. For most of us, a paper cut or a scraped knee, it's just an annoyance, right? But imagine if that wasn't the case. Why would a simple little cut become a huge problem? This question right here is the key to understanding what it's like to live with this condition. And here it is. Hemophilia is a rare inherited condition where your blood just doesn't clot the way it's supposed to. This means that even minor injuries can lead to prolonged, sometimes even uncontrollable bleeding. The entire problem boils down to a breakdown in the body's ability to form a clot and stop itself from bleeding. Okay, so what's actually going on here on a biological level? Let's crack the clotting code and get into the science behind the bleed. The whole problem comes down to these tiny proteins in our blood called clotting factors. And honestly, the best way to think of them is as the body's emergency repair crew. The second there's a breach, like a cut, they're supposed to rush to the scene and patch things up. But in hemophilia, some key members of that crew, well, they just don't show up for work. And it turns out, not all cases are created equal. As you can see here, the type of hemophilia you have depends entirely on which specific repair crew member is missing. Hemophilia A, that's the most common one, is when you're missing clotting factor 8. Hemophilia B means you're short on factor 9, and the rarest of the three, hemophilia C, is a lack of factor 11. Which of course leads to the next logical question. If these clotting factors are proteins, the body has to have instructions to build them. So where exactly do those instructions come from? The answer, as you might have guessed, is in our genes. The instruction manual for these clotting factors is located on the X chromosome. Now this is key. Since males have only one X chromosome, if they inherit that faulty gene from their mother, they will have hemophilia. Females, on the other hand, have two X chromosomes, so if they get one faulty gene, their other healthy X chromosome can usually pick up the slack. This makes them carriers, who can pass the gene on, but usually don't have severe symptoms themselves. So we've covered the science, but what does this genetic condition actually look like in a person's life? Let's talk about the real-world signs and how doctors actually diagnose it. The symptoms all circle back to that central problem of failed clotting. So we're talking about things like unusual or excessive bleeding, like sudden nosebleeds that won't stop, or getting large, deep bruises from just a minor bump. But critically, it can also cause internal bleeding into joints, which leads to serious pain, swelling, and warmth. And this quote right here points to one of the most telling early signs. A simple bump on the head, which happens to every single toddler, can cause these huge, alarming bumps called goose eggs. It's a massive red flag that the body's normal response to injury just isn't working right. So if a doctor sees these signs, the diagnosis gets confirmed through a series of blood tests. They'll measure how long it takes for the blood to clot, and then run very specific tests to check the levels of each clotting factor. This is how they pinpoint the exact type and severity of the hemophilia. Now we get to the most hopeful part of this whole story. For a very long time, hemophilia was a severely life-limiting condition. But thanks to incredible medical advances, that outlook has been completely turned on its head. Let's look at the solutions, from day-to-day management to genuine breakthroughs. The evolution in treatment has been nothing short of amazing. For years, the standard was what's called replacement therapy, basically infusing patients with the clotting factor they're missing. But now we are entering a truly revolutionary new era. We're talking gene therapy that aims to fix the root genetic cause, and also these innovative new drugs that work by disabling the body's natural anti-clotting systems. And here are a few of those game changers. Gene therapy is the ultimate goal, right? Give the body a working copy of the gene and maybe fix the problem for good. But other brilliant strategies are popping up too. Instead of adding the missing factor, drugs like marstegimab HNCQ and fitoserin actually work by blocking the body's own stop clotting signals. It's a completely different way of thinking that boosts whatever natural clotting ability a person already has. So what does all this incredible science mean for daily life? Well, the quality of life and the prognosis for someone with hemophilia today is worlds away from what it was just a few decades ago. Let's dig into that modern outlook. Honestly, this one sentence says it all. With modern care and these new treatments, a person with hemophilia can expect to live a nearly full and normal lifespan. I mean, just let that sink in. That is an absolutely massive achievement in medicine. Of course, living well still means being proactive. Things like managing your weight to protect your joints from extra stress are crucial. So is excellent dental care, because you want to avoid procedures that cause bleeding. Staying active with a doctor's guidance is also key. And, super importantly, seeking mental health support is crucial for managing the anxiety that can come with any chronic condition. And it's so important to remember that for rare diseases, you are not alone. Specialized care and support networks are absolutely vital. Resources like this number connect patients and families with the expertise and the community they need. And that brings us to our final thought. Hemophilia is really becoming one of the very first major success stories for gene therapy. It's proving that the concept can actually work. And that leaves us with an incredibly inspiring and powerful question. With this becoming a reality for hemophilia, what other inherited conditions could be next on the horizon? The future is looking very, very promising.